I'll tell you, Mahjong is one of those skills that I did not understand how important it really was when I was beginning to learn it. And what's fascinating as well is keeping an understanding that what Mahjong is a very regional game. There's no Chinese Mahjong. There's Beijing Mahjong, Guangzhou Mahjong, Shanghai Mahjong. And they're all quite different, and they teach you a great deal about Chinese culture. So just a bit of background, in a previous life, lived a very Chinese lifestyle, and on weekends, especially during the winter, there were neighbors. Now, when I say neighbors, yes, they lived nearby, but they were all old, real old. And I say that now as a 55-year-old man, but I was probably in my 30s, early 30s. They were probably in their 60s. They would come over around, 1 o'clock after lunch, maybe 12:30, and we'd sit down and we'd start playing Mahjong. And I lost, and I lost, and I lost. What is referred to as I had to pay some tuition. That's the way that you're going to learn the game. And the fascinating thing was we would play for 4 or 5 hours. They would then leave. They would go have dinner. Then they would come back, and we would play for another 4 or 5 hours. And it was great because you would have this environment where you were, drinking tea. Sometimes you'd be drinking some Huangzhou. You'd be eating guazi, watermelon seeds, the whole thing. It was just an environment. And I just thought of it as a game. And then it really occurred to me that, yes, it's a game, but it's a game in Shanghai again of not about winning, it's about not losing. So for the uninitiated, what is the difference with Shanghai Mahjong with everywhere else? Shanghai Mahjong is 没有拉稀牌, right? There's no garbage game, meaning you have 3 suits, you have 筒子, 条子, 丸子, you have circles, bamboo, and characters, and then you have all your other characters like Hongzhou and Facai and whatever else. And the way that you play is you can only have 2 paths to success. You either have Peng Peng Hu, where you have 3 of a kind, or you have Qing Yi Si, which is you have runs. But if you do Qing Yi Si, they have to be all the same suit. So either 筒子, 条子, 丸子. Now, what that means is it's very difficult when all the other players are actually trying to do something similar. So as you're going around the game and you draw a pie, you're picking up your tile and you're putting it out, you have to be extremely mindful about what exactly the other players want. You will know, based upon what they throw out, what it is they're looking for. So it just became this epiphany about maybe Shanghai culture, but I think Chinese culture, which is you're playing a game, again, I think this is an important takeaway. It's a game about not losing. You want to try to win, but as you get towards the end of the game, your aim is to say, I know that this person or this person needs something that I have. My goal is not to throw it out. And you'll find that if you're playing with really experienced players, that ultimately, if you throw something out that somebody else needs, people will they'll call you all sorts of names. So it's really fascinating because if you go to Beijing or you go to Guangdong, Guangzhou, anywhere down there, their game is completely different. You can mix and match any of the tiles that you want. You can have, 3 of a kind in Tong, 3 of a kind in Tiao, whatever the case might be. And the game goes very quickly, but you're not really thinking strategically about what you're trying to achieve. And for me, I think it's just fascinating how the game of Mahjong has, for me, continued to be this super important element of my experience in China. I play with new friends who come around. I don't really play all that often, but I have found myself becoming a bit more like those old Shanghainese people I first started playing with, because I get really upset now when I see people doing something I'm like, what are you doing? Like in my head, and I'm like, it's just a game. It's just a game. But it is fascinating to be able to apply the lessons that you learn in something that seems as simple as a game of Mahjong and understand how it is very applicable across a lot of what you do here in China.